Let me hear you, Mitch, because I haven't done yours yet.
Memories all alone in the moonlight.
Penguin
died.
Back to me. Now back to man, now back to me. Sadly, he is not me. But he could smell like me if he stopped using lady-scented body odor and switched to Old Spice. Look up, look down, you're on a ship. I won't do the whole thing, sorry.
Hello, and welcome back to WePC.
I really want to call Mitch's like t-shirt in. Like, there's so much potential.
Colour it in. It's my friend's clothing brand.
Nice.
Very nice.
Do they want to sponsor the podcast?
No, we've got NordVPN and Raid
We have
Shadow
not got
Legends.
NordVPN. Please
No,
stop
no,
saying
wait.
we have NordVPN.
We wish we had NordVPN.
I'm going to call I did a tweet yesterday where I'm going to call my first child Raid Shadow Legends.
Ahoy hoy, and welcome back to WePC. Now, this is the WePC podcast. If you've never tuned in before, welcome. You're on episode 7 right now. And yeah, we've got 7 of these. 7 whole hours.
Wow.
Are we still
voices.
going to 73? Because the whole point was we were going to 73 because Mitch is going to make an appearance, but now Mitch is just the
that was a
regular.
year and a half away, and I'm very impatient.
Yeah.
So if we got a new number, or are we just going to keep going?
We're
now?
just going to keep going.
What
The
great news!
73
Indefinitely.
is good to aim for.
Indefinitely.
I
And we
made a
ju-
deal
yeah.
with His Holiness that as long as this podcast remains, so shall I. So
I think at
Why?
73 we swap Elliot out as host and get someone like,
Younger.
cool and young like me.
you're older
Mitch
than me.
came from
In
not in the
space
podcast
of
to
3
wanting to run the
episodes, yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. In the space of 3 episodes, we've
I'm
gone
taking
from never
over.
seeing Mitch to him like trying to stage a mutiny of the entire
I'm getting
podcast.
usurped. I am a Targaryen and he is Robert Baratheon coming
Mitch
in.
wants this to fit
That
into
was
Mitch
too niche
PC.
for me.
How is that too niche? That's Game
I've,
of Thrones.
I've forgotten everything I know about Game of Thrones.
Well, you're
as soon
lucky.
as that show
I wish
ended,
I could forget everything about
as
Game
soon
of
as the
Thrones.
show ended, I was like, I could not tell you which house was which anymore.
The last season was very upsetting. The
Anyway,
rest,
It
great.
was a bit.
Anyway,
This week we're talking about massively multiplayer online role-playing games. And for those of you who don't know the acronym, it is MMORPG.
nice.
What a great acronym. So this week we found out before this podcast even started that there are some surprising MMORPGs out there, ones that we didn't think existed or were classed as MMORPGs. So we're going to start with Jay because Jay has played a lot of MMORPGs. So Jay, we're going to start out with your favourite MMORPG of all time.
Oh, it's got to be RuneScape. Just because it's the OG. Like, no one had done it like they had done it. Like, a browser RPG to get that popular is just ridiculous. But, like, I don't play it anymore. Like, I've played like every MMO under the sun at this point. But RuneScape's definitely going to be up there as one of the most revolutionary, to be honest. Purists who play, like, WoW will be like, it's absolutely atrocious, but it's not. It's not, and I'll fight them. But I played everything. Oh, no.
That was me looking directly at the camera like, oh man, I'm going to have to fight a cripple before the end of the day.
Yeah, well,
No, I don't like
I still
RuneScape.
think it'd take you.
yeah.
What a old
Look at them.
But yeah, no,
Lock 'em in the
RuneScape.
room.
I played RuneScape Classic, which was quite literally a 2D model that when you turned around, you would disappear for half a second because it was so 2D. And that was amazing. Like, at the time, that was revolutionary. And then it went into RuneScape 2, which is when it was all 3D. And then it's gone to RuneScape 3 now, and no one likes it anymore because RuneScape 3 now is like an actual MMO. Like, you've got like the hotbar skills and stuff like that. It used to just be point and click, and then that was just how it was. But now it's like a proper MMO. But now people don't like it, which is strange because people used to laugh at it because it wasn't an MMO, like a proper true MMO, and now it is, and people like don't like it anymore. I'm like,
Isn't there the
can't
classic
win.
version now? Like, you can still play the old version.
Yeah,
right?
so it went from RuneScape 2 to RuneScape 3, and it was super HD. So it went from like the graphics that are out on that old version to the newer graphics, but then they switched the combat to like an MMO combat system, and they didn't like it because of it. Because it used to just be point and click, and then they would fight, but now it's like hotbar skills, and people now don't like it for some reason because no one can be happy. So they released the old version, which is like the really bad graphics for like nostalgic purposes, but now they have like full development behind it. It does better than the actual version.
I tried it on my phone because you can get it on your phone. Was not a fan.
Yeah, I think that's because you're so used to modern day graphics now that you didn't play the game when it was in its prime. So I was like, are you okay there?
I love how vigorously you defend that. Also, you're playing it on your phone. So, like, that's also...
No,
that's
it is the
also
graphic. That is the
strike.
graphic type.
It looks exactly the same on your phone as it would do if you were playing it on a browser.
It's got its own graphic style. So the way that people might think Borderlands look cartoony. Well, that's the point. That's its graphic style. It's the same with that. Like, that's what it's meant to look like. And yeah, it's good. It's just a disgusting grind. Like, you have skills on RuneScape and you get them to level 99, which is the max, which is 13 million XP. And the XP rates are like upwards of like 30,000 an hour. So there's 13 million and there's like 28 skills. At like 20,000 an hour, quick maths, it takes a few thousand hours to max your account. But then like RuneScape 3, which is the recent one, you can get XP rates up to like 600,000 to a million an hour. So that becomes a lot easier. And they have double XP.
So that's 433 hours per skill to max it out.
Pretty much. So I maxed on RuneScape 3, but that's significantly easier. But my in-game time was like a lot. But you know, if you like the game, invest your hours.
But like when you hit max, like is it enjoyable to play?
Oh well,
or are you just playing it to get the numbers?
Okay, just to take that one step further. So on RuneScape, what they do. So 30 million is level 99, but you can go up to 200 million. So people go and do 200 million, which is 5.4 billion XP on RuneScape 3, which is all the new. Actually, there's a new skill. So 5.6 billion XP. People have done that, but then there's a mode called Hardcore Iron Man and stuff like that, where if you can't trade other players, you can't use the economy. Everything you do is self-sufficient. So it's hard enough to do it when you can trade and like do all that stuff, but when you have to do it on your own, it's awful. And then there's an even worse mode, which is called Ultimate Iron Man, which is where you can't use a bank. So you have 28 inventory slots to do all of these skills, and these skills require a lot of space. Like mining, for example, you need to mine it and smith it, but you have your bank so you can like mine for 4 days and get like 1,000 ore and then smith it. But when you're an Ultimate Iron Man, you could have used 28 spaces, and those people have got 5.4 billion XP, and it's taken them like 8,000 hours, and I just could never ever do that. So yeah,
very nice. It sounds like you've sunk a lot of hours into
I was going to say,
RuneScape.
you know those figures off the top of your head.
I used to make guides on RuneScape on YouTube, so I knew quite a lot about the game, to be honest. So
go follow WePC on YouTube. The guides aren't there, but do it anyway.
But yeah, that RuneScape is definitely my favorite. I've played every other MMO, but that's like, if we were talking favorites, it's probably that. My favorite at the minute though is Final Fantasy Online, and WoW.
Save that. That's the next topic of discussion. Don't you worry about that, Jack.
So we got favorite of all time or
your favorite
now?
Favorite of all time.
It probably is World of Warcraft, but it's not where it was in my opinion. But every now, probably once or twice a year, I'll just sub for like 1 month, play it for probably 3 weeks before I get bored, and then I'll go off it for 6 months, then come back again, play it for 3 weeks, lose
like
focus.
A good MMO.
Yeah, that tends to be how I do MMOs. I'll waste a ton of time in it, and then I will just lose interest in it, drift on to the next one.
With Warcraft, my World of Warcraft, the first ever exposure I had to World of Warcraft was Warcraft the movie. So like,
how did you manage that? How did you manage to avoid it for so long? I didn't mind the movie.
See, I never played World of Warcraft. I was never really massive. I was into other games as opposed to MMOs. Like, I used to play, the only real one I used to play was SWTOR, and but I used to play a lot more like FIFA and console games. I was never really a PC gamer growing up.
Did you know
it was
what?
Too cool for us.
South Park. They did like a whole episode about like
the WoW episode is the best South Park episode of all time.
But yeah, I mean that should have been exposure
Well,
enough.
I never watched South Park.
You lived a very sheltered life.
You did.
Elliot,
You
yeah.
did.
We didn't have the luxury.
We didn't have nice things where I lived.
Like,
You
He
had
won his
FIFA.
He won his
know what
Nintendo
electricity
Wii.
was till
Survive on
2018.
I literally didn't have a PC until I was about 14, and even then it was like really crappy. I couldn't play game. The only game I could play on that PC was Worms or Theme Hospital. Like that
Worms
was
is
it.
all you
I mean,
need,
they
to
were
be
both
fair.
classics though.
Oh yeah, but like, so Warcraft. Like you introduced me to Warcraft.
You need to say World of Warcraft.
World of
People,
Warcraft.
purists will get mad at you.
I'm so sorry, purist people. As I said, my first experience was the movie, which was called Warcraft.
It wouldn't be like Elliot to ruffle a few feathers for me.
yeah. He never pisses people
Not
off.
on this
Well,
podcast.
the thing with WoW is like it brings a really good expansion up. It. It's one of those arguments. It's the same with Destiny, where you can spend hundreds of hours doing stuff, and then the next expansion comes out, and everyone just gets put on the same level.
Yeah.
So that's what the argument where like, are you wasting your time or are you not wasting time? But WoW keeps coming up with big expansions. Like even like, so you got not Legion. The recent one is BFA, but then they released like a patch, and then like that patch is like a micro DLC anyway, because they released like the Visions of N'Zoth and stuff like that. And I came back and played it for a few months and did all the raids and stuff like that. And it's sick. Now I'm really excited for Shadowlands because they're completely revamping the system. So you're going to be playing it with us when it comes back out.
I still pay $9.99 a month. And
You've been paying for like 4 months and played. You played for like an hour maybe. We all came on.
No, I that's the thing. I never do the rolling subscription. I will subscribe and then immediately I will cancel the subscription. So I've got the 30 days so that I don't waste a day of subscription that I'm not paying.
No, I've sunk about 50 quid in. Like that thing is probably like £50 for a day's playtime. So like genuinely, because I did do a little bit after by myself, but then I was just like, I like other games more. I got into NBA again.
Well, when Shadowlands comes out, you'll be able to play that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think like you touched on it there. Like the big issue is that because they get so big, like Destiny and WoW have the same problem. They start removing the older content to make room for new content, which means that they're constantly losing the audience that they've built up with previous stuff. So, for example, it's and all the World of Warcraft players yell at me for it, but what was the expansion? Warlords of Draenor, where you could have your little town
garrison
and build it up, and you can. Yeah, I loved that. Everyone else seemed to absolutely hate it, but I enjoy that part of it. But they've just cut that out even more as time's gone on, which has pushed me further away. But they're never going to be able to please everyone. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They're just too big of a game. Like,
from your face there, Jay, you look like you didn't agree with that.
I skipped over.
The garrisons.
I played so I really wanted to play WoW back as a kid, but my mum was like, "What?" So I played. That's why I played RuneScape instead of WoW.
Yeah.
So my first experience of WoW was when what came out. So it was BFA. No, so it was Legion then BFA. So I think I really started playing just before Legion. So I bought. No, actually, no, I lie. So I started playing in Pandaria, skipped Warlords of Draenor because no one liked Warlords of Draenor except for Jack. And then I played
Warlords of Draenor. The dungeons were awful, like really
absolutely
bad.
atrocious. But then I played Legion and BFA, and now I'm addicted. So I've stopped playing for a few months. I'm waiting now for Shadowlands to come out to play other things. But it is a really good game, to be honest.
Yeah, Legion was really good, but annoyingly,
except the class hall. Wish they'd bring it back.
It depends on whose class hall you were in. Like, if you did the mage one, it was fine. If you Demon Hunter was pretty good as well, but like anyone who had to walk to it, it was just like, why on earth did they not just put a button in so that I can actually access this thing? Yeah. But yeah, Elliot's eyes have glazed over. He has no idea what we're talking about anymore. But
What's your favourite?
I'm just here to host. Yeah, welcome to Mitch.
Well, I'm here to talk about the real OG classic MMORPGs, like Club Penguin.
Oh, classic.
now is.
You should have seen my Puffle collection. It was elite. And my igloo was banging.
You can't say that on a podcast.
Puffles, you can, yeah.
You can't say, look at my Puffle collection.
Oh, you know what a Puffle is, yeah?
Yeah.
The little ball. Yeah, so you're a penguin, and your penguin's pet is a Puffle, which is like a ball of fluff. They're kind of cute.
I used to see how fast I could get banned on Club Penguin. I'd walk into the middle and
we did.
I could just be like, "What up?"
Banned 2 days.
P-word.
Yeah, see, you don't want to get banned on Club Penguin when you're paying for membership like I did.
I'm going to have to put the explicit check mark on this one.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd come up when we were talking about Club Penguins.
Yeah,
don't worry. I have access to the beep sound effect.
Right.
I'm a master editor.
Right.
So anyway, back to my igloo on Club Penguin. It was great. It's definitely an MMO. Not sure about the RPG part.
I loved Club Penguin so much.
I just never role-play as a penguin.
I was a big, I played RuneScape. I never really got fully into it because I got distracted. All my mates were a lot better than me at RuneScape, so I moved over to Adventure Quest Worlds, which was like, we all sort of started on a level playing field. I was like, okay, I'm just going to smash this game and be the best. So I paid for, I had a membership from like 2009 to like 2011. It was like 2 years of basically just bashing this one game. The level cap when I started was 20. So I got to level 20 and then they raised the level cap and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to be maximum level again, and just carried on. And that's like 11 years ago now. I recently logged into it and I have so many like items from like events they did. So I started playing the game the first year it launched. So if you played the game in that time, you got a sword that was basically like a 1 year founder sword. And then I got the same for the 2 year and the 3 year. And I logged in recently and all of those now are like down as ultra rare items. So anyway, I'm on this podcast because if anyone wants to buy my Adventure Quest Worlds account, I have all the rare items from the
I do remember playing Adventure Quest. Yeah.
Have you tried to eBay
mobile
this?
game?
Yeah. No, I've not tried. It's not a very
what if
popular
you have
game
items that are
anymore.
worth like
only one of the servers really gets players now. So I assume that I've probably missed the point where I could have sold it for a decent amount of money.
You can't sell stuff on though from an MMO anymore, can
Not
you?
legally,
I mean, I'll give them my username
away.
and password. To be fair, like I'm not attached to that account anymore.
RuneScape used to give out rare items. So RuneScape used to do a thing. So Christmas and Halloween, they give away like they do an event, you get an item. But back in the day, they used to be tradable. So Christmas in like 2000, they gave away party hats, Santa hats, and then Halloween they did Halloween masks. And now the max cash stack on RuneScape is 2.4 billion. You can have like multiple cash stacks, but it's always at 2.4 billion, and then you have to equate your wealth into items. Those items are now worth like double cash stack. So if you had an account on RuneScape in 2000 that you forgot on, you've got like 10 party hats, you're holding like £10,000 worth of like items, and people have like because they can't sue you, it's just against the game rules, your account will get banned. But if you go on and you've got 15 party hats that's worth like £10,000, you can sell them, go on with your life, your account get banned, but who cares, you secured the bag. I think that's wild. So you could be holding on some ridiculous.
Are you googling how much it might be worth?
But the thing is,
does anyone pay for the accounts anymore?
Yeah, no, they do, because I remember this because I got very much introduced to the selling of things from MMORPGs when someone's going to need to hit me in a minute. But my ex's dad used to play EVE Online religiously. Like he would wake up at maybe like 8 and he would play until 11, maybe 12 at night continuously and have a break for like an hour because he was part of like this massive, and I didn't realize how big EVE Online is. And they were building this thing and I was like, oh, what do you do once you've finished it? Do you take it into battle? He's like, no, we do all these massive battles, but also we build them to sell them, and like this particular ship you can sell it for like $5,000. And I'm like, I was just like, what? And he's like, how long does that take to build? And then he was sat there, he's like, oh, maybe like 9 months. And I was like, is everything okay? Like, it was just like, oh yeah, no. So he managed to convince me to like download it and start like giving it a go. And I was like, oh, so what do I do? All of this, because you got like mine and shit, and it was like really complicated. And I was like, oh, but I've got to pay for this, and this is 40,000 credits, and like all of this, but I've only got like 10. And so he just sent me like 15 million credits, and I was like, that's not a lot. And he was like, not for me. And I was just like, I've never seen somebody flex an online game before.
You never do that in WoW. Like when you start like on a new server, you get somebody to like come and give you all the money so that you can buy all like the inventory expansions. Right at the start.
And flying mountains and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Can I is Habbo Hotel an MMORPG?
That's what I want to bring up.
Because I'm a scumbag on that game.
Robbing people's furny on Habbo was like a low-key...
I used to go to like the casinos and change my name to the host owner's name. Like, so if they were like Mitch 52, I would do like M1 52 and have their name. And then when people would come in to trade like the furniture to the host, I would trade them instead and steal it all. I was an absolute scumbag, but my rooms on Habbo looked amazing. And I remember I got grounded from Mum for this. I stole my mum's car because I really wanted to be like Habbo Premium, because you got like this green furniture, you got this green couch and a starband, and then you got this dance and you would go like this, right? And it was dead lit, because if you went to a house party, you'd have to like dance like this, and there'd be the premium members like this doing this dance, and I was like, I want that. My mum was like, don't be so stupid. So
Apparently it is. Because like there's a subsection on its Wikipedia that says role-playing elements for the game. Yeah. So technically, I reckon
absolutely.
I mean, people would get married on Habbo. Like that was a thing.
It was absolutely incredible. Yeah, it was just such a good game.
I remember Habbo so much. You used to use like phone credits, so you could like text a number and it would like you'd put money on your account. Yeah. So my mum had a company phone. So when she was like cooking or something, me and my brother would go on a company phone and pay for Habbo credits off that, and she would be none the wiser because she wasn't paying for it. But then I'm assuming the company would get him bills for like £10 at a time for Habbo Hotel, and they just never brought it up to her.
I remember I always wanted RuneScape members, so it was free to play and it was a bit basic, and then you had like members skills and members items, and I wanted it so bad, like so bad. My mum just didn't get it. Like back then they didn't get paying a subscription fee because it was so new. So I used to get pocket money. So it was the same thing as you. It's £5 to text in and you would get a code and you would get members. And I used to save my pocket money up each week. So I would have, not pocket money, sorry, my lunch money. So I'd get like £2 a day, which back then was a lot, by the way. You get a lot for £2 at lunch hall. So it'd be £2 a day, and I would just not eat food for like 3 days and just go home, and I'd be like absolutely starving just so I could give it to someone on their phone. And then you go, because this is when you have to go to the shop and buy credit for your phone, enter the code in, and I'll be like, hi mate, can I pay you £5 to buy me some RuneScape memberships, please? And I used to do that every month. That's how I used to get my monthly subscription for RuneScape.
We led wildly different childhoods.
Elliot's doing archery to win a Nintendo Wii, and you're just hanging around outside shops trying to get Habbo credit.
No. I used to hang outside shops, but I'd never used to go and ask for RuneScape. It was always for something else. But like,
yeah, so the youth today ask for something completely different. I used to start. I'd just be like, "Hold up, schedule like,
we try to get.
Can you buy me some RuneScape memberships,
like,
please?
Cigarettes and alcohol. Yeah, like, can I have some RuneScape credit?
Can you get me a £5 orange top up, please?
Can you just go in the shop? I want to fight some mythical beasts. So.
But like, I get what you mean, because like I used to do that with pocket money from school. I used to go and like, but this was back when it was like 10p for a can of Lucasade, and like from Farm Foods.
He was paying shillings back then.
Yeah, exactly.
You used to go and you used to get like, there was like the energy drinks for like 25p, like the
Boost,
shitty own brand.
Red.
No, like it was just like a silver and red can.
B&M Bargains Prime.
Yeah, Farm Foods. And then you just used to like buy like a crap ton of Coke and then sell it on to your mates.
What were you doing when you were kids?
Coca-Cola.
My school, right, so I'm not going to say the first name of it because, I don't know, it was a bit weird. But the second half of the name was Business and Enterprise School. And I used to sell Coca-Cola and Haribo and sweets. And I got caught and got expelled for a week. What kind of business and enterprise is that about? Like, I was like literally trying to be entrepreneur myself. What I did used to do, goes about RuneScape again. I used to buy stuff in real life with RuneScape gold. And I used to have my own little farm, so I used to hire people in school. So I would be the head honcho boss. And there's this material on RuneScape called flax. So I'd pay like the year 7s to go and pick flax for me. And they would come back. And I'd buy the flax. So I'd buy like 1,000 of it, for example, for like 10,000. But then you could resell, you would spin the flax into bowstrings and sell it for 4 times the amount. So I would have all these year 7s, like little robots coming to me. And I would pay them in RuneScape gold to give me this stuff. And then I would have like millions. And then my friend would be like, I've got a can of Pepsi. I'm like, give you $1 million on RuneScape for that. And I bought so much stuff. I had a whole my friend got a brand new Liverpool kit and he was like, I'll give you it for $5 million on RuneScape. It's like, go on then. I was honestly a businessman.
That's a pyramid scheme.
That is a sweatshop. But the year 7s, they were getting money on RuneScape.
Yeah. Stay off our AstroTurf pitch and
had some purpose. It's
RuneScape.
fine.
I'll tell you what that is. That's fluctuating currency, because 1 million for a can of Coke and 5 for a Liverpool kit. That is wildly different prices. Like
5 million gold.
It was a
It would take a week to
Liverpool
get. That's like a week's worth of pay. The year 7s knew none the wiser. I hope they're having a great life.
so far in this podcast, we found out that Jay's runs sweatshops, and that Mitch is, I don't know, into furries or something from Club Penguin.
Waffles.
Furry balls.
Waffles.
As you
They are
described them.
furry balls.
What are they called?
Waffles.
Still weird.
So you're into furry balls?
Yes, massively.
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 Online furry
Only when he
balls.
was
Let me just double check they're called puffles before
I
look
really
like an
hope they
absolute
are.
Club Penguin noob on this podcast.
My man spoke about Club Penguin for 10 minutes and he can't even remember his own pet.
Yeah.
Like,
These are puffles. They are furry balls.
I just really wanted to be a ninja on that. Oh yeah, great.
Yeah.
There was people used to like the thing is it's called a role playing game, but no one actually role plays unless you go onto some servers. Oh wow, can't tell, that's PG. I can't talk about that on a podcast. Oh my god, some of the people that role play on WoW.
There are some
weird.
strange people.
Okay,
There's
so-
one server where you go to a pub and there's some things happening.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell the story because it needs to be told. Right, so I literally got called.
Oh no.
Right, me and Jay live in the same flat, right? And I got a message through saying, I don't know if you'll want to see this, but you need to come and see this. And I was like, I'm so intrigued, but also, what the is going on? Like, what is going on? And so I go in, and it's basically, he has a friend who is a really, like, elf or something, I guess.
Huh? No, she's just really into WoW. But
Oh,
she knows
she's
everything about WoW.
super
Like,
into
she
WoW.
knows
Super,
the ins
super
and
into
outs.
WoW.
And she said, have you ever been to Ardent Dawn? And I was like, what's Ardent Dawn? She's like, haha, make a fresh character, make it a human.
Got a character on that server.
Oh no! Do you not know this? Okay,
no,
so
what
you make a fresh level 1.
You
You make a fresh level 1 human, and you go to Ardent Dawn server,
It's Argent Dawn.
and you have to walk. You can't run. You can't
Jack.
you
He's
can't
the
run
head
on the
pimp
server.
there or something.
So when you start, you have to go to your keybind and make sure you know how to press a key so that you walk, because you're not allowed to run in big areas because roleplay. And you go to the pub in the main area, and honestly, I can't even explain some of the things I've seen. I went upstairs and there was someone being exercised on the bed. There were 2 people hooking up. There's people downstairs.
Sounds like
Wait,
Jack
how
sort
are,
of
how
player.
are they? How are they
best-
hooking up in
The
WoW?
best.
Are they just
there's a way.
slash?
There's a way.
Type in
slash
enter.
I'll give you it's
enter.
slash sit slash stand slash sit slash stand.
So they're just
People-
teabagging.
Okay,
you.
so that, yeah.
People have made macros.
Hooking up, is it?
People
It's
have made
just
macros for
sitting
this
up
where you
and
press
down.
one button and they just raise up and down, and then there's like vocal commands and everything. It's really
Time
weird.
for this.
The best one that I seen was someone was Chris Hansen, and I don't know if anyone's seen To Catch a Predator. He was chasing people around that were gnomes, saying like, that was a weird one. But anyway, yeah, thanks for that one, Heidi, for absolutely ruining my World of Warcraft experience. You've got a character on that server.
I have got a character. I'm sure I do.
Jack's
no.
acting all surprised.
Jack was the guy getting exercised on the bed.
He's the bloody bartender at that pub.
I would be the exorcist.
Jack sat there like that guy who found out that his fish and chip shop or something was also a weed dispensary. He's just like, what? I didn't know that.
I'm going to have to check, like... Oh, well, I can right, when we resub for Shadowlands...
We're not going to Ardent Dawn. I can't do that one again. There was one person
No,
who
we
has
need to
unlocked
do
a
like...
toy.
Madness.
what is it like? Investigative journalism. But in WoW.
I can't wait for this article.
and this is an investigative documentary into Ardent Dawn. There was one person who had unlocked a toy that when you threw it on the floor, it made the entire room red, so it made it look like the red light district. It's weird.
You just tried to do David Attenborough. I also tried to do David Attenborough then, and I sounded like Voldemort when he just died. Like, yeah, Harry Potter. Like that sort of.
Came to die. Anyway, what's your next question, Alex? I feel like we're going to be on Ardent Dawn for a while. I need to get that out of my system.
So,
Yeah, I need
so
to
now
look
we're
into
going
that.
to
I'm a bit
move on
scared.
because we are still. It is a podcast about MMOs, apparently, and then, so we're gonna swing it back round. We're gonna go with Mitch first, so we can get his Club Penguin fetish out the way.
It's way more than that now.
We're gonna go with what makes a good MMO.
So, if you've ever been on Club Penguin, there's this place called the Iceberg, right? And it was pretty much universally known that you had to tip the iceberg.
Is it the chill zone?
What?
Is it the chill zone?
No, it was literally just an iceberg. And basically, there was a rumour that if you filled up that area of the game and everyone ran the penguins to one side of the iceberg, you could flip it. Obviously, it was just a place on a map and it had no interactive features. It was just an iceberg. So there was these like 8-year-old kids, including me, being like, just run to the left. Everyone would run to the left. They're like, run to the right. And you run to the right. And then you just like,
coordination on Fall Guys when it comes to icebergs, because they do not have any sense of
they don't get the.
I mean, the Club
seesaws
Penguin
at
community is
all.
like pretty elite with that sort of communication. You know,
Just one pop-up bubble.
What, yeah.
One pop-up bubble. Right.
Honestly.
anyway. So
Yeah, you got to have like a raid leader for Club Penguin.
to be serious, what makes a good MMORPG is having a sort. I don't know, being able to sort of team up with your mates and go on like an adventure that's actually decent and you can sort of get involved with properly.
I
Not
can't-
just try and tip an iceberg by running from one side to the other. I mean, like
Really
actually
fun.
complete
That's the thing that I'd be
some
finding interesting.
complete some quests.
Genuinely
Shit.
can't believe you've managed to turn an iceberg on Club Penguin into a genuine, heartfelt point about playing with friends.
Well, there you go.
Steve,
That's
man.
why I'm now on the podcast.
Nice.
Nice.
But yeah, so we'll go back round with Jack.
Well, I can't beat that because he had like a motivational speech. You can put that on a poster.
Michelle Obama has nothing on him. Like,
We got Club Penguin emotional, stories to tell. I feel like I always enjoy the MMOs that other people that I know are playing. That's the problem, because then like when one of your mates drops off, then all the others start to question it, and then another one will drop off, and eventually, like, no MMO is good if you're playing it on your own. Like, it's not the point of playing it. And I'd also say just having stuff to do where if you're sinking that amount of time into it, you need to get something back. because that's the other side of it. I wouldn't want to be spending like that long on RuneScape unless I got something like
You get skill
every
cake.
10 level.
If you get to level 9, you get a skill cake to show that you're the master of that skill.
Don't
I
forget
see,
the
then I'd be
street
down.
cred.
Yeah.
And if you get 99 in all of them, you get to go to the max guild. Where you and your friend... Wait, if you're maxed, you get to go to the max guild.
You can also get a
it's basically a
Liverpool
room
kit
full
off
of
your
virgins.
mate if you farm enough
I'm in
flax.
He got at least one can of Coke and a Liverpool shirt.
Well, yeah,
out of it.
exactly. To be fair, you
Real
real
life
real
rewards.
world currency.
I'm basically the like Al Capone of the RuneScape world, to be
Yeah.
honest.
That was
I still
Bitcoin
remember
before
when like
Bitcoin.
they added the WoW token, which you could like exchange for real world money, and I was like, oh my god, I could do this as a job. And then I realized I'd have to play it like 24 hours every day for the entire month just to make back the money I was spending on the subscription. But
Well, not to sidetrack at all and go back on the RuneScape again, but there is Venezuelans where the RuneScape currency, where if you sell RuneScape currency per hour into Venezuelan money, you actually will earn more money than if you got a job there. So there are bot farms, Venezuelan bot farms. It's a very, if you're watching the podcast, type into YouTube, Venezuelan bot farm RuneScape, you will have the most incredible time watching an hour documentary on these people who have set up bot farms to kill green dragons to sell RuneScape money because they earn more money in their country doing that, which is a sad state about their economy. But there's also RuneScape communities that focus on killing those Venezuelan bot farms to ruin their lives. It's a savage little crossover. But
Oh my god, there's
man, now
people
you
that
brought
are actually...
racism into the world of RuneScape.
it's not racism. It's because they're inflating the economy
So-
in RuneScape.
Yeah.
So the two major exports of Venezuela are mangoes and RuneScape currency.
Honestly,
Mangoes,
I
really?
laugh, but honestly, that is an incredible
full of
watch.
cocaine.
If anyone wants to see that, so
No, that's Colombia. I mean, that's not anywhere I know. Like,
so yours is wanting to play it with friends, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta have people
so
that
the
are
same point
at
as
the same
Mitch's.
time.
Jay,
Yeah, you can
Yeah, but
On
it
the-
wasn't as good.
On
Yeah.
the flip side, not off the flip side of the iceberg, just on the flip side is
Don't
that
bring it up.
there should be. I feel like MMOs, like I believe you in what you say, where you need to be able to play it with your friends, because the whole point of an MMO is you play it with your friends, partying up and stuff. Because you have to queue for like an hour to get into a queue
Yeah.
because you're not a tank or a healer. It's horrible. But there's also elements where I think so. Final Fantasy 14, you can play it like a single player game. I've played a lot of Final Fantasy games, and I can play the MMO as if it was a single player game on my own, because for the story missions, you just queue in. You can queue with NPCs, but then like dungeon quests that are part of like the actual story, you need to queue with real players. But for the most part, you can actually play that game as a single player game. So I don't know. I feel like if some MMOs can do that, then it'd be good, because WoW is fun and you can play it on your own. But it's more fun to run dungeons with your friends and have a laugh with it. Because I know there's one dungeon that I always take new people in, like Elliot, where there's like a level 15 dungeon that at the end of the very dungeon, you have to jump over this ledge that you don't really see to get to the final boss. And every single time you take a friend in there that's never played, they always fall down and then they never get to get the final boss kill. And it's so funny. And it's elements like that where you could like bring a new friend into the game and show them certain things, which is the best bit about it. Because if you're just playing the game on your own, it's like it's just a role-playing game. It's not massively multi. You're just going to see people all around you, and it's just like
And you're gonna finish it and then move on to the next game like you would do with a normal RPG. But you know,
I
if
feel the
your
same with
mates are
Destiny.
playing it,
Destiny is only fun. I don't really play games anymore unless I play them with other people. I feel like I get bored of my own company, so that says more about me or the game. But I feel I enjoy games more when I play it with people. So I feel like if it's not fun and it can't exist with that in mind, then it sucks. Because especially Destiny, you can only team up with 2 people. You have 3 people unless you go on the PvP. But if you're going to do story, you can team with 3 people, which is really annoying when there's 4 of you that want to play. So you have to split into 2 teams. It's really annoying. But
4?
That's
4
insane.
That's insane.
all the people I know are in the room.
Yeah. Nice.
See, I'm going to disagree with all of you, and I think it's not friends that make a good MMO, because I think friends ruin things. And
Looking at you, Jay. You've ruined his experience.
That poor penguin's crying now on his little iceberg.
And this
I
floof.
think all my puffles are dead now. They don't die, they run away, actually. If you don't
Where
look
did he
after
run
them.
to?
I think they just get kind of deleted.
Hamster.
Which is a bit
Questions
more
about
upsetting than being
Puffles.
run away.
I think what makes a good MMO is its story and its expansions of that
Oh yeah,
story.
but that one's obvious.
Yeah, exactly. But nobody said it. Yeah. So I'm gonna say
If
it.
it's a bad MMO,
Isn't
no
it
story.
it's usually a pretty rubbish story at a certain point of an MMO, because you're just trying to come up with a reason why at the end of this expansion there's going to be a really big boss, and you know that the next expansion is going to have a really big boss, and you're going to run around in a slightly different, biome style level design, and then at the end there'll be a big boss. I don't think the story is necessarily that
Final
good.
Fantasy is the only MMO I've ever played where I'm enticed in the story. I do not have a single clue what is going on in WoW. I've been playing WoW for a solid 6 years now, and I still haven't got a clue what's going on. Because there's a lot of story, but there's too much story, and it's mainly not told to you by the game. It's told you by the extensive lore that you have to research.
That is a massive problem with WoW.
Whereas
But
Final
that's-
Fantasy
that's
just
Put it
perfectly
into a little
explains it all.
cinematic.
I think that also makes a good MMO is the environment you put it in. Because for me, SWTOR is a great MMO, but that is because I know a lot about Star Wars and I know a lot about the EU that was reset by Disney. But yeah, like the entirety of that extended universe that was so carefully crafted over 40 and 50 years that then came into a game and you could delve into, and there was so much opportunity for story and everything like that. It made the game because you were going in and you were finding stuff that you'd only read about, and you were doing storylines and doing stuff that you'd read about, but you were now in the heat of the action. Same with like Star Trek Online. Like I got my stepdad to play that because he loves Star Trek, and he was like, "This is great because my god, there's the Borg," and I was like, "Yeah." It's just one of them. Like I think if you have a passion for what it is originally about, it's why World of Warcraft's been going for so long, because of that extended lore. Because there's a lot more to do outside of the game as well as in it.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like on the other hand, though, what made me start playing Adventure Quest Worlds was that they were trying to bring in all these like new big bosses and new sort of like lore and storylines and stuff like that, and I just wasn't interested in it. And that was sort of like, I don't really want to play this game anymore because it's taken them like 6 months to bring out one update, and they've been teasing it for so long, and like I just
Do you think
don't
that
have the
was an
time for it.
age thing though?
Well, no, because I was still young. I was definitely in the age bracket where I could have carried on playing it for another few
No,
years.
but do you think that's because you weren't older? Because I think you have more of a patience for it when you're older. I think.
Possibly?
I don't know.
But
Like I feel like I'm less interested in storylines now than I used to be, because now I'm just looking for good moment-to-moment gameplay rather than, especially like in an MMO, the storylines are so long that you kind of have to dip in and out of them. That's the thing. Like if you play through the entire story of WoW, that's going to take you weeks to get through. And even then, like the other problem is because now you have like they're moving to more of a season type model for games like WoW. You not only have to play through the storyline of the expansion when it comes out, then you have to play through the storyline of each patch that comes after that. So for example, BFA, that is an incredibly long story now, because they've decided rather than put everything out when the game releases, that they're going to start, drip feeding it over, months, over years. It's about 2 years of content that you've got to get through for one expansion now. Like that's a lot of story, and no one's going to do that.
Destiny have started to do that. It stresses me out. Instead, Destiny used to just do 3 expansions a year. They'd have a small one, a medium-sized one, and a big one towards the end of the year in like September. And now they do like 2 with like seasons, and the seasons are awful, and the content is awful, and the game is dreadful, and I just hate Destiny, and I want it to just... Anyway, carrying on.
Directly. I think that was aimed at you, Bungie.
Is the second
PR
question
list
like
still,
what our favourite is? Because mine was going to be Destiny.
No, Destiny is one of my favorite games of all time. I really don't like how they've started to do stuff. I used to get really excited for DLCs and then get all that story, but now they've done these like micro DLCs, and you have to play for a long time just to go to the next season for everyone to be reset. So now they've got the new power cap, so you can go to like 1050, but then you play it for a month or 2 months, and then the next expansion comes back and you go back to 1000. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, like, what was it called? The massive ship that the event was about.
The Almighty.
The Almighty. So like, I've never. We did something on WePC. If you want to go and give it a check it out on YouTube, where we reacted to the Almighty event, and I've never played Destiny before. I've never picked it up. I've never touched it, and I was just there to offer commentary on how pretty the scene was. And basically, it was boring. It was so boring for an event. Like, it was just
an hour late.
Yeah, it was an hour late, and it took ages. And all it was a ship crashing. And I'm like, You could have done that in 5 minutes from a cutscene.
It was
Again,
their
it's-
first experience of dipping into that like live action content like
They
Fortnite
saw
does.
what Fortnite had done and
Yeah,
tried
but-
to do the same thing, but it did
Even then,
not work
you can
because
spice it up a little bit. Then.
It was kind of, once it hit, it was really cool. Like seeing the tower get like bombarded, it was really cool. It's a step in the right direction of like new content because they're just repeating the same stuff. Really, like, oh, there's a new raid, but not really too much story that leads up to it.
Well, Bungie, if you're listening, Travis Scott, I'm sure, is available. You know, I'm sure he'd be
Astro World in the middle at the end of a raid. Travis Scott is the boss.
Astro World in Destiny. It seems like it's a good fit, right?
For sure.
Astro.
So what?
Oh.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
But
we've hit the
Beyond
nail on the
Light-
head for that.
Beyond
one.
Light coming out still in a month or two, so I'm hoping that
Delayed
kind of
till October, November.
November, yeah. But hopefully that'll
So
give it a bit
month
of a
or
kick
two.
So
because they're going to
November-
start taking a bunch of the old content out and just focusing on new stuff, which I'm hoping
November's going to be fun.
speeds up everything. Oh yeah, November's going to be absolutely packed. There's like a
Wow.
2-week,
Destiny, Cyberpunk, COD.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla,
There's probably more games
and
coming out.
probably new consoles, and we're still
Oh,
waiting for
yeah,
new
and new
graphics
consoles?
cards coming out. I'm
November.
guessing next month, but they could go into November easily.
Yeah, no.
Lots coming up.
Next gen consoles and all of those games in the same month is just that's not good. That's not
I'm not
good
going to be
at
able
all.
to afford that. We'll
I
get
just
So
checked
if
my
anyone would
finances
like
and
to
I
send
cannot
us
afford
just
this.
whacking out a load of PR emails. Please send me these games for
pretty
free.
much, yes.
Get in touch with Microsoft. Try
But
and get us
cut
an
that
Xbox
because you sound
Series X.
desperate.
Yeah. Then big
Well, the
man.
next one is where you want to see MMOs going. What you want to see is changes in there. Like, do you want to see VR MMOs? Do you want to see specific content being made into MMOs? Because we have been hearing little droplets of rumours about a possible Harry
I was
Potter.
about to say that's the only
RPG
game I want. I don't
MMO.
care anymore. Just give me that game.
So, like, yeah.
Lord of the Rings MMO.
There's
See,
been
they
a
had Lord of the Rings
MMO, though.
online.
Game of Thrones
but
MMO.
Yeah, but I
wasn't
think that like
great.
crashed and burned, didn't it?
No, they brought a DLC out.
It was all right,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't as good as now. When you look at Lord of the Rings games, for me, Lord of the Rings games outside of online
Yeah.
games, so like single player focused Lord of the Rings games, are all amazing. Like Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor, The Third Age, Return of the King.
Honestly, I think
War
he's
in
said
the
Return of the
North.
King every podcast.
Yeah, I know, and I'm going
King
to keep my
is
mouth
my
shut. You're going to put my head
favourite
on Gandalf again.
Already done it.
But like those games are great, and the way that they tried to get that across and failed for online, now I think they can do it better. Especially with like because Amazon own a lot of the rights to it now. Amazon.
Yeah, but they're struggling with what is it?
Stock issues.
New Order, New World.
New World. Oh,
Basically, they're working on another MMO which was supposed to launch this year, and they've had to push that back. If they're pushing that back, then I don't know how long we're going to be waiting for a Lord of the Rings one.
The thing is, though, like Lord of the Rings Online was revolutionary. Like you look at it now, you're like, "What is that?" But when it was out, that was an incredible game. Like Saruman as a raid boss and stuff like that. It was a really, really good game and ahead of its time. But you know, you look at it now, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. But I played that. That was a really good game, actually.
But yeah, the one thing I'm looking for is a Harry Potter one.
That's
'Cause I
me
feel
and
like
you were
that's-
looking for that.
yeah.
I think that's all we want. Because
It's just great. But they are bringing out an RPG, whether it's an MMO or not, is another.
the actual
story.
games are trash. Apart from your Wii one where you can use the
Order of
He
the
loves
Phoenix.
Chamber of Secrets and Philosopher's Stone really good. The rest of them were a bit meh.
Order
But
of the Phoenix was good.
I think the closest thing I've came to a Harry Potter MMO is Gary's mod. They've got a mod where you start as a student in your first year, and you have like people can pay to be the teachers, but you have to like play on the server for a long time. But everyone has to role play. So like when you go to like duels class, everyone's like, "Abracadabra," and the teacher's like, "You can't use that spell." And there's a genuine I genuinely think we as a business have to dedicate an afternoon and we have to all go and role play in Gary's mod on this Harry Potter server because it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Because there's like students who will like bunk off and go to Hagrid's hut and sit in there, and then the teachers are coming after them like, "Get back to class." It's so funny. But that's the closest thing I've ever came to a Harry Potter MMO, and I want a real one now. You are all looking at me like, "What are you saying?" But honestly, it's incredible.
Well, I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't like the world enough to be into it. That's the problem.
This world or the Harry Potter world?
Well, me and Elliot are rather big Harry Potter fans. Elliot has almost all of the wands.
Not all. My,
You do
no,
have a
no.
disturbing number of ones.
That's why his girlfriend left.
Yeah.
Oh my!
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god!
You've made Jay walk again.
You've killed what? Do you know what I feel like? I feel like Charlie's grandpa around the corner. He's like, I'm killed.
You got the golden ticket.
I've this.
What? I'm sorry.
I don't know. Should I step in?
Well, all I'm
Let's
saying
go
is,
on,
No, let's not.
No,
Let's just-
Jesus, no. I'm not stepping in.
picture
Right.
the scene. You go back to a guy's house. He has every Harry Potter wand on top of his wardrobe. What do? You put on your coat and you leave.
You put on your invisibility cloak and join in.
Ooh, that doesn't sound quite right. I'd like
That
to
was
publicly apologise for Elliot.
But yeah, I think
For me.
No, so 2, Elliot. 2 and 4. Different reasons, though.
Just because you're in a happy and loving relationship with your partner, Mitch, doesn't need you need to throw it in other people's faces. Like,
But yeah, I think anyway.
And
I
that's
think
why
a Harry
some of us
Potter
need.
is something that we're all waiting for, because that was meant to be at E3, and then E3 got obviously yeeted off the face of the earth thanks to COVID. I also don't think E3 is ever going to come back, but that's a different subject for a different day. I think that was meant to be announced this year, and we might still see it announced maybe in Q3.
Yeah. Because all we know about it at the minute is that it's set in the 1800s. So it's before
The
Harry
Harry Potter game.
Yeah, it's before Harry Potter. Now, there are a few significant things that happen in that. I'm not going to get into it, Mitch, because you'll probably body me.
Is going to be there. So it's like Godric Gryffindor and that going to be in
Probably.
the game. Oh my god!
But
Voldemort's
all
not
they've
there.
said it is a large scale, and it's a console project. It's a AAA sized RPG, which usually to me means it is online role play and multiplayer. Like, because I don't see a single sort of game.
Yeah,
from
I
that.
can't think of a recent RPG from a AAA, like a AAA
It's either
RPG
going to
title
be
that's not been online.
the one thing it's either going to be like Skyrim, or it's going to be
Tsushima.
like Elder Scrolls Online. That's what they're the two sides of that coin that it
Yeah.
could be. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be set before Harry Potter's time. It's going to have the like founding people from Gryffindor. So it's and all of the houses again, Mitch. Before I get bodied again for
I
talking
can't
about
wait for
Harry
the
Potter.
Basilisk.
Nothing wrong
Oh
with
no,
Harry
Basilisk
Potter.
wouldn't have existed, huh?
No, the Battlelist would
What?
have existed because the Battlelist was created by Salazar Slytherin, and we're just gonna
Raid boss.
Well, you never know. Chamber of Secrets raid, that could be really good. But like, I'm still not over.
Amazing.
I'm still not over getting bodied by a bitch. I'm sorry.
That clip's going everywhere.
So sorry.
Upload to Reddit/r/sickburns.
I didn't mean for
You
it
know
to
when
be
I was
so,
saying like
so
I need some clips
mean-spirited,
from
it
the
just sort of-
podcast to run as paid ads. Can you just send me that clip? I'll put some budget behind it. We'll use that as the
We'll get it
poster
sponsored
for
by
it.
Tinder.
Look, I'm sorry. Can we stop bullying Elliot, please? It was a it was a mistake, a moment of madness. I take it back. Everything I said.
Honestly,
That's what his
we
girlfriend
offered Mitch a contract to stop being
I
an
wanna join
intern
in.
and become a full-time staff member, and it's gone to his head.
Whoa! Don't tell him that. I've got to be Mitch the intern for the podcast
Elliot
forever.
looks shocked right now. Look at it.
He's never been quite the same.
Would you like to move to your final question, Elliot?
It's been months of disappointments. I'm just surprised it took Mitch to disappoint me this long. So we're going to talk about.
apologise enough.
Okay, sorry. So obviously we here at WePC are all PC gamers.
Oh yeah.
First and foremost, we are definitely
100%.
PC gamers. But you are seeing a lot of Star Trek Online, DC Universe Online. A lot of those are moving or have moved across to console. Yeah, Elder Scrolls Online and stuff like that. You do have some really good MMOs on there. So would you prefer to have it available across all platforms? Do you think console are better? Do you think PC are better? Console.
Sorry. Can you say that again?
Console.
I'm on
just-
before.
PC or what?
It's because he needs console.
It's because I need consoling.
Console.
That's what it is. My fragile emotional state, I'm in need of console, and it's just bringing it through to the forefront. So console or PC?
Well, see, it will always play better on a PC at MMO. Like, and to be fair though, like ESO is designed for EVA. You have 5 skills. It's not that deep. Whereas 5, that's insane.
That's my issue with.
So you have 5
ESO.
skills. You play 5 skills. You have 5 skills, and then you press up on the D-pad, and you have another 5 skills for your second weapon type. Very easy. We play it on console. However, you can play Final Fantasy 14 online on both PC or on controller. But I play a samurai, which is like you have to do like 8 different combos, and I have 4 bars on PC, and I have to constantly do all of these things Trying to do that, I switched to a controller just to see how I could do it. You can't. You have to make macros because it's so difficult. So I think having it available for people on console is good because not everyone can afford it. Are you two okay?
I think he's giving me daggers. I can't
I'm
really
just
tell.
staring Mitch out. It's fine.
I think having the option to be able to play on console is important because not everyone can afford a PC. I've been using the Works PC to play Final Fantasy Online. It's fantastic. When I give that back and I go to my PC, I'm going to want to play it on console because it's awful. So I think people who can't afford to buy a PC, it's easier to just buy the game on console and learn. Because if you play an MMO straight off the bat from console, you'll learn how to play it on console. Whereas I've gone from PC to console and I literally wanted to just end everything because it was so bad. But then games like ESO, it's very easy to play on console. And WoW, I know, WoW is giving direct controller support when Shadowlands comes out. So you will be able to play it on console, not on console, but with a controller. So I don't understand why they won't release it on console. There's big conspiracy saying that they might do it, but I don't see why they wouldn't because
It's their next big step now that they've got the classic one out. So
because
yeah,
someone's brought a mod out, like a fully fledged mod that makes it an action camera, so it changes the viewing angle from here to like behind the character and full control support, and it's incredible. And people are saying that the controller support that they've tested in the beta isn't as good as the mod, so you can just use the mod and it plays really well. I played it just for memes, to do it just to send to my friend because she was really annoyed at it. And it's honestly, it works really well playing WoW, especially if you play an easy class like Demon Hunter where you have like 4 skills. It's easy. If you play like a healer, 4, that's insane.
I will never not.
But I think it's important to have it on both. But it will always play better on PC, and anyone that says otherwise is just lying to themselves.
Okay, so we've got one for PC, Jack.
I think it depends on the kind of game. I feel like WoW at the moment suits PC more, but that's because I feel like a lot of the time you're just waiting for stuff. Because like if I'm playing Final Fantasy 14 at the moment, I spend a lot of my time just sat there with the controller in my hand, waiting for the spell to actually cast,
the GCD
which is
as well.
really, really dull. Whereas if they speed that all up, I think it'd probably suit a controller
You're playing the wrong
play
classes.
style anyway. But yeah, that's how I see it working.
So we have one PC, one straight down the middle, kind of grey area, and then
That's what I do.
Mitch
PC.
and
For
another
MMORPG.
Thanks, Mitch.
Definitely PC.
There you go.
I won't say that for many things, but PC, yeah. For MMORPGs, gotta be.
Plus, like, if you want to talk to other people and you don't have a headset, like, have you ever tried, like, typing out a full message using the controller?
Yeah,
You're there for, like, 10 years.
fair.
I like to
They've
tell
left
people if
by
they're
the time
bad.
you've
Like if
written
you've
the
done bad
message.
in a dungeon, I want to tell you. And I tried to do
You're
that.
that
I
bad.
played the Final Fantasy 14 on console just to see what it was like, and I was like, you suck. Sell backspace your game. And then they sent a big response because they're on PC, and I'm like, I've been off replying that
Yeah,
again.
you're
To be
never going to win.
fair, if you don't have a headset, you can visit www.wepc.com where you can find the best guides for peripherals.
Nice.
Thank you.
Like that.
Smooth.
Jeez.
You're welcome.
Nice.
But yes, so that's the end of.
Are you PC or console?
I'm kind of neither. I don't really play MMOs.
Brilliant. Okay then.
So, again, it's become the tradition that in every
At least
episode,
one.
we have someone that just has no
To be
opinion
fair,
on...
I thought it would have been me this time, but I think
No, you got
I've
Club
saved
Penguin.
it.
You've got
Yeah,
like,
you're
excellent
yeah.
Club Penguin knowledge.
And
Yeah.
though.
That's, yeah.
WePC plays Club Penguin coming soon.
Yeah,
I
I'm not.
think
I'm
it's
not going to lie to you though, Mitch.
closed.
You're not going to be on next week's podcast.
That's fine.
Things happen.
I'll accept the consequences.
No, I think if we're going on PC, or because I will say PC because the only MMOs I have played are on PC, and I think you're all right. It does play better. I think, especially like Star Wars, Star Trek, all of them, the rest that I have definitely played.
I'm going to say mobile instead.
I'm going to say mobile.
Good lord.
But yeah, thanks for tuning in
Ooh.
to episode 7 of
of
the WePC
on an
podcast.
indefinite amount now.
Yeah.
Forever.
Not 73.
Until
we get
I
shut
die. Like,
Yeah, until it becomes too much that like we start getting demonetized.
What if we never make it to 73?
Don't say
You-
that.
Yeah, but
Don't
that's-
tell you
say
what,
that.
you are on thin ice.
a black hole will appear and you'll disappear into it.
Yeah.
You are walking a very tight wire. Right
I'll
now,
never
Mitch.
feature on this podcast
You
again.
might not make it to episode 8 of this rate. Like, I won't put money on it.
I definitely will not be featured on episode 8. I promise that now.
So,
But
yeah.
if anyone knows how much my Adventure Quest Worlds account is worth, please do get in touch because I need money.
And if anyone has seen his waffles or whatever they're called,
Puffles.
if anyone's seen Mitch's puffles wandering about in the Club Penguin world, please get in touch.
Waffles.
Anyway,
Right, can we come up with like a business logo for Mitch's Waffles?
So you can find us on Spotify. I will get through this. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. You can watch us on YouTube. If you're liking what you're hearing, subscribe. Give us a review. If you're not,
leave.
what are you doing here?
Don't come back.
We're past the hour mark now. Like, if you don't like it, you should have left a long time ago. Not gonna lie.
And DM us for offers on Mitch's Adventure Quest account.
Yeah. Or just tell me how much it could be worth. I
Yeah.
googled it just after we spoke about it, and it's the first upholder blade, and then I've got a second upholder blade, and they were released in 2009 and available for 1 month only, so they're very, very, very rare. So if anyone wants to buy them,
Leave a
I will
5-star
sell.
review with the amount that you want to purchase it for.
You're gonna come in with like one of those big metal chains, like a dollar sign on it next week.
But no one plays Adventure Quest Worlds anymore, so it'll just be one guy be like, I'll give you a $5 for it, and I'll give it.
Mitch is upgrading from Mitch the intern to Mitch the pimp. But yeah.
The Pimp Town.
Don't do that.
Okay, bye.
Bye. I
Well,
really
that was
hope
it,
Mitch
wasn't
gets an email somewhere and just like, hello, my name's Terence, and I really want that Adventure Quest sword.
We'll put
Well, we
some,
can't
we'll
put
put some
that out.
posts out.
I tried Googling it, and there wasn't much information on
I'm
selling
going to make it into a
Adventure
social
Quest.
post and we can hashtag like Adventure Quest Worlds and everything. I want that sword sold.